If Goku was never born, it's obvious a lot of things would change in the world of Dragon Ball, but people often overlook these repercussions when discussing the topic. If Goku didn't land near Mount Paozu, Grandpa Gohan would have never become an adopted grandfather, nor would he have been killed by the young Saiyan. This is a huge change that goes under-discussed when this topic is covered. You see, Grandpa Gohan was likely killed in his sleep, considering the fact that he's able to fight fairly evenly with Goku at Baba's palace. Remember, this is Goku after he trained with Master Karin and beat Tao PaiPai, becoming a fighter that even Roshi thinks he can't compete with anymore. Just like your old browser can't compete with today's sponsor, Opera GX. I've been using Opera GX for a while now, and I have to say, I love it. Downloading it isn't even its final form, since they just introduced GX mods to customize your browsing experience. I personally like the GX Boy mod for that retro game feel, from the sounds to changing your wallpaper, to changing your color themes, and even adding shaders. But these mods can even be user-generated, so you could have every time you type be Goku screaming, if you're into that. A big issue I had with my old browser was managing the videos and music I had playing in the background. Opera GX solved both issues with the video pop-out feature and the GX player. Now I can continue watching my videos from any tab or control my music with just a click on the sidebar. And I know, changing browsers can be a pain, but the quick import tool is like training in the time chamber, because in just 4 clicks, its power level has entirely caught up to your last browser. If you use my link to have your browsing experience go even further beyond, you'll get a widget with my latest uploads, so you'll never miss a video again. So what are you waiting for? Click my link in the description to power up your browsing experience today, and thank you so much to Opera GX for sponsoring today's video. What's also important is that Grandpa Gohan taught Goku to treat women well. So when a girl who's wandering the world by herself to collect some magic wish orbs comes to him looking for his 4-star Dragon Ball, he would likely give it to her, but he'd also likely journey with her as well. Now, I'm sure you could tell, but having a character that is basically Goku from just 2 arcs in the future is a huge help. He'd of course reunite Turtle with Roshi, agreeing to help return his old friend to his old master. I don't think Grandpa Gohan would want the Kinto-un as a reward in this situation, but he would notice and ask for Master Roshi's Dragon Ball instead. This does lead to us avoiding the sus way they got Master Roshi's Dragon Ball the first time. It's also worth mentioning, at this point, Grandpa Gohan would have the Nyoibo as well, since he, of course, isn't dead and didn't leave it to Goku. After meeting Roshi, they wouldn't use bait to defeat Oolong, they would just beat him, and Yamcha would actually recognize Gohan, since he's a renowned martial artist that Yamcha even said he'd heard of in the original series. This leads to Yamcha joining the group to both learn from Gohan as well as be with Bulma. Then we get the reunion on Frypan Mountain with Gohan and the Ox King, and with Gohan's current power level, he can easily use his own Kamehameha to take care of the fire without the need to get Master Roshi involved. Monster Carrot is another easily handled enemy due to Gohan just being stronger than Goku and having the Nyoibo, which leaves us with Pilaf's castle. Assuming other events play out the same, Gohan would be more than capable of creating an exit, allowing the group to not only escape, but also stop Pilaf's wish. If we go back to original Dragon Ball, Roshi's teachings for Goku and Krillin should be similar to what he taught Gohan and the Ox King, so considering how severe Pilaf's wish was, Roshi's lesson of blasting enemies away should resonate with his star pupil and lead to the death of the Pilaf gang. Now, when it comes to the wish, I don't actually think a wish would be made, since Gohan should be able to break free before Shenron is even summoned. At this point, Bulma and Yamcha should have their wishes granted through the journey itself, much like the original series, so feeling the burden of responsibility, especially after Pilaf intended to misuse them, Grandpa Gohan takes the Dragon Balls in order to keep them safe at his home in Mount Paozu, where he asks to be dropped off after the group splits up. So, time passes. Yamcha enters the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai, a tournament that ends in a resounding victory for Jackie Chun, who uses it as a lesson for Krillin, and Yamcha uses his decent performance, alongside Bulma recognizing Roshi, to become a student of the Turtle School as well. Shortly after the tournament, Gohan would start receiving visits from a group known as the Red Ribbon Army, and their pursuit of his 7 Dragon Balls. He's easily able to take care of every member of the army, even being able to overpower General Blue's abilities, much like Tao PaiPai did. Speaking of the assassin, he would be hired at the moment of Blue's defeat, a last resort from Commander Red, who can't get his hands on his wish for greater height. Tao isn't a stranger to Gohan though. While it's unclear if the two ever met, he'd likely know of Tao due to his affiliation with the Crane School, the longtime rivals of the Turtle School. Regardless, Tao PaiPai just isn't a threat here. Grandpa Gohan is far more comparable to the Goku that one-sidedly beat the assassin, so while it may be a closer fight than Goku had, he'd still be able to beat him for good. This attempt on Gohan's life was the last straw, and he knows what has to happen. Gohan gathers the Dragon Balls and wishes for every bad person in the army to be wiped out. With no one in the Red Ribbon Army stronger than Kami, this wish would make them become nothing more than a memory in an instant. This includes Dr. Gero, the androids like Metallo, all the commanders and colonels that remain, and more. Though pure-hearted characters like Android 8 would remain, and are allowed to live the peaceful, normal life they dreamed of. So the Dragon Balls scatter across the world, and the story can go one of two ways. Gohan continues to live his life as a hermit, or he seeks out Bulma once again, thinking he'll need to keep the Dragon Balls safe until his time comes. The latter is more fun, so let's just go with that. Gohan knows from his last adventure with her, Bulma is from West City, so he begins his search for her there, quickly learning she's the heiress to the Capsule Corp Empire. Once he reunites with her, she happily hands over the radar, especially after he explains what's happened. But she says it'll be around a year before they're active again, so for now he'll have to wait to hunt them. Gohan then notices that Yamcha isn't here with her and asks what happened to him. She gets angry, but she tells Gohan Yamcha would rather be training with a pervy old man than spend time with her. Gohan is shocked to hear that Roshi has taken more students, but that does excite him as well. He asks Bulma if he could borrow a plane capsule, and she agrees so long as he tells Yamcha how annoyed she is. He agrees and then sets off to find his master. It takes a little bit, but once he finds Kame House, he's excited to train again, as well as help the next generation. A fulfillment he never got due to him never meeting and training Goku. Roshi is interested in Gohan's help, but he also has a final bit of training for his greatest disciple. He thinks about it shortly and determines that Yamcha and Krillin are ready for it as well, so he sends all three of them to Karin's tower to do the training he did 300 years ago. So with this training, Krillin, Yamcha, and Gohan get a good amount stronger, though Gohan does grow the least due to his age and him already being beyond this training. So Gohan manages to complete his training quickly, and Master Karin has him wander the world after gifting him a Kinto-un. This is perfect since he has to collect the Dragon Balls again in less than a year anyway. Krillin and Yamcha take a while to get the water, but once they do, they should be nearing their 23rd tournament power by the time of the 22nd. So 3 years pass, and in that time, Krillin and Yamcha continue to train while Gohan collects the 7 Dragon Balls, once again keeping them safe. Until finally, the 22nd World Tournament rolls around, and Ten Shinhan finds himself outclassed by the Turtle School, as does Jackie Chun. An appropriate grand finals here would actually be Gohan versus Yamcha, and only because the bracket layout is the same as the original. We're just replacing Goku with Gohan. Then Gohan, of course, wins this battle, but it is hard fought. Roshi and Gohan then go on to confront Ten Shinhan to get him to change his ways, and in the face of their indomitable presences, he quickly backs down, even realizing that fighting and growing are the things he cares about most, not becoming an assassin and not revenge on Tao PaiPai's killer. After the tournament, Karin leaves his tower to tell Gohan to return to his tower after the tournament festivities end. Gohan's strength and good deeds have given him permission to meet God. Grandpa Gohan is delighted by the prospect, and Roshi is astonished at how far his disciple has come. So Gohan travels back to Karin's tower and uses the Nyoibo to gain access to Kami's palace, where he is trained by the God of Earth as a reward for helping to keep peace on the world below and stopping the Dragon Balls from being used maliciously, something Kami blames himself for. Here he gets not only much stronger, but he also learns the Namekian fighting style as well as how to fly, just like Goku did. Kami only wishes that Gohan was younger so he could take over for him as the God of Earth, which leads to a long, though not permanent, peace on Earth. You see, with no Pilaf gang, that means there's no one to unleash Demon King Piccolo, which allows the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai to play out normally. I don't think Gohan would participate, but if he did, he'd win due to his training with Kami. When Gohan returns to the surface, he continues to defend the Dragon Balls, but no one ever comes for them. The threats from space just stay in space, since Raditz has no brother to find, which leads to Vegeta never learning of the Dragon Balls, and by extension, Frieza never learns about them either. This leads to both planet Namek and Earth being safe for now, though there still is a galactic tyrant on the loose. The Frieza Force might at some point go after the planet Namek, but they'd never have a way to activate the Dragon Balls, so it doesn't matter, and Earth is considered small and pretty worthless, so there's no reason they'd ever go there. Then, with Gero gone from the wish made earlier, there are no androids or Cell to worry about, nor a terrible future to be warned of, so things seem peaceful overall, though there is a threat that they need to be wary of. You see, Boo isn't brought to Earth by Babidi. Rather, he was left there after Bibidi was killed. Earth was the Warlock's next target, so he put the sealed Majin Buu there to unleash when ready. This of course leaves Earth in the line of fire for an attack from Babidi's minions. But if we look to the future timeline version of the Buu saga, he might play a more patient game than what we saw in the present. Future Babidi spends over 10 years slowly collecting energy, since there aren't any Super Saiyans to easily siphon over half of Buu's energy from. In the future, this gave Supreme Kai time to train up a new fighter to stop the oncoming threat, Trunks. Here though, his options are rather limited. Grandpa Gohan could very well be dead by this point in the story, though the Ox King is still alive for a long time, so perhaps he'd still be alive as well. Even if he is, handling Babidi and his minions is a tall order. Even pretending that Grandpa Gohan can somehow beat Pui Pui and Yakon after his training with Supreme Kai, he likely can't. We still have the issue of Dabura, which took future Trunks acquiring Super Saiyan 2 to beat even after his years of training. And even then, Supreme Kai and Kibito still died in that battle. Realistically, Buu is where Universe 7 meets its end. Without Goku, there's no Super Saiyan God prophecy, so Beerus would just stay asleep, and he would die when Supreme Kai does. Meanwhile, Frieza is still in control of his army, of course, so he has Raditz, Nappa, Vegeta, and the Ginyus and more working for him, but unless he gets word of Buu early enough and is able to train, he'd easily be beaten by Majin Buu, just like his father warned him. Then we do have Broly, who could likely beat Buu in a fight at this point of the timeline, but if Buu and Babidi ever do find Vampa, they'd probably just destroy it like they did to other planets, so Broly becomes a non-issue. He isn't Z Broly after all, so he's not making a ki bubble to survive in space. With the universe being destroyed planet by planet, this will likely lead to Universe 7's mortal level being even lower, since mortal levels have to do with the quality of the mortals alive in the universe, not their power. This would likely lead to a domino effect where Zeno decides to erase the lowest rated universes, and Universe 7 would be the bottom of the barrel. This outcome isn't that surprising for a world and universe without Goku, but it is surprising how long it could take before things actually get really bad. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. Thank you to Opera GX for sponsoring this video, and thank you so very much for watching.